Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RVing in New England. We are delighted to have you join us tonight. We got a great show coming up tonight, but let me bring my partner in here to see what he's up to. There you are. Hey, John, how you doing?
Good evening, Mr. Zagami. I'm kind of freaking out a little bit because I just looked out the window and it's getting dark.
Yes, it is.
7 o'clock.
It is. No more sunlight. Nope,
But you know what? We got a great show tonight, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to talking about some of the things that we did this past week. And
let me put a couple of those up there, and you can start right away with that.
There we go. So this past weekend, as we talked about on this show several weeks ago, the Northeast Region Camping Charity held their 7th annual event down at what I consider the finest RV resort. It's not a campground. I guess it's officially a campground, but I call it a resort at Normandy Farms. And there was a little surprise for us in that one of the things that they do each year is they raise money for a group called Halo's Wish, which is, as Jason Cole says, it's best. It's helping families be families again. And they take various families where the kids have had some difficulties, whether it's health-wise or otherwise, and allow them to go to a place that they've always wanted to go. So this past weekend, you can see the picture up in the top right. The O'Donoghue family of Rutland were this year's winners. And I know there was also another group from the New York area that the camping charity honored, but they were unable to make it this weekend. So they made a presentation to the New York Good Sam event a few months ago. So it was pretty cool. And they had ice cream, Bob. Every ice cream.
Okay, yeah, they looked like they had it in little cups, though. It didn't look like a big,
Yeah, they had it in little cups.
Manly ice cream cone.
Right. No, they had little cups, and you had chocolate or strawberry. And you know what? I know that Walter Swenson was all around there with videotape. So I know that there's videotape of me having both the strawberry and the chocolate. I cannot lie.
I would have had both.
There's candy. But
we got Jerry Plants on there. We got Scott Nichols from Marshall. Hi, Scott. And Audrey's up front and center tonight. Hello, Audrey. Glad you could join us.
Looking forward to the show.
Yeah.
Audrey made it back. Audrey had some technical difficulties, but she made it back. Were you in New York, Audrey, this weekend? Was this? I think it was our New York weekend. But Bob, let me mention this Halo's Wish thing one more time. I don't know if I sent you the address. If you have it,
yeah, I'm going to post it down below, John. Because if I put it on the screen, they won't see it.
Okay.
We will post it in the notes, so anybody who would like to make a donation to Halo's Wish in support of the Mass in Rhode Island and the New York and mostly Good Sam, the Good Sam chapter here,
the Northeast,
up in the Northeast,
including up in Canada.
Yeah, and up in Maine, the guy with the pink hair, Martin Quayle. I wonder if is he still pink? Because he didn't make it down to Normandy because he went up to Canada.
Walter will know. Walter will know. I guess Martin went to Canada.
Quebec. Yeah. But in the process, he said if he could raise $500 for Halo's Wish, he would dye his hair pink. And I guess there were a lot of people that wanted to see it pink because he raised $1,158 for the charity.
But Bob, what we got to admit here now, if Martin and Diane showed up at the border crossing with him in pink hair, I think chances of him being arrested were pretty good.
But he must have got through. That's a good point. That's a good point. I'm not sure the border would like to.
Might have worn a baseball cap.
Yeah, maybe he did that. Yeah. Well, all right. There is some activity around this weekend. Next weekend is the big stuff. We got next weekend at the end of the Big E, we'll have Pete's RV. For 3 days, they'll be in the Go RVing exhibit at the Big E in Springfield. And the Freiburg Fair starts on September 29th to October 4th. And Lee's Family Trailer Sales will have a big display there. And they'll have service vehicles up there in case you need service. and Lee's Auto Ranch. Brian sent us a thing this morning. They're doing that fall RV tour with Fox 61 in Connecticut. So if you're in Connecticut, you'll be on the lookout for that. And I just I did post it, but I forget the name of the campground. Pete's is doing a campground roadshow this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. But that's on our site, so if you want to check that.
Breaking news. So we have to interrupt our regularly scheduled program to bring you this RVing in New England. Breaking news alert. We have just made history. And you're not even aware of this history, but I just saw history being made. This is the first time that I can recall in the year and a half, almost 2 years that we've done this show, that our guest is also watching the show and making comments.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Eric, let me put that up there. Brittany and Eric Highland are going to be joining us real soon. And he must be getting itchy in his director's chair down there. He says, hello, all from the Boston Cape Cod KOA. We're happy to be here in the Plymouth area. Well,
you might call it a director's chair, but when our viewers see it, they're going to know it's not a director's chair. It is going to be an official camping. Sit back, have a beer, and fall asleep behind the campfire chair. So watch. We'll see that when we get them on.
All right. Why don't we bring them on? We know they're probably not going to have an issue with mosquitoes tonight.
They might have an issue with frost.
That's a possibility. Okay, now I have to put a fourth picture up because I don't like the way that screen is. So
it looks good.
Bear with me. Here, I'll put a picture of their unit up. Yeah, that's better. Okay, now I got you both in the picture. Eric, Brittany, welcome to RVing in New England. I'm sure you stayed up all night practicing your lines and reading your script, but our fans know we don't even use the script and we don't even have any idea what we're going to say. But
and we interrupt each other all the time, like I'm doing right now.
Well, we're both Italians.
Yes.
Right. So, Bob, these guys are living the life that I'm guessing that 100% of the people that watch this show, the thousands of people, will probably get over 10, 12,000 views on this. Tell them about your record. Well, in a minute. They're living the life that most people dream about. And we got to give them credit for having the guts to just do it when they're young, take their child with them. And
no, they didn't take their child with them.
Well, that's right.
They created a child along the journey.
Right. So
somewhere in Kingman, Arizona.
Somewhere in Arizona. under the stars, Eric?
Route 66.
Route 66.
Oh, Route 66.
All the magic happens on Route 66.
That's right. Okay. Hey, you got your kicks on Route 66.
Yeah, we sure did.
Yeah.
For sure. You got your kid. Well, anyway. So, Bob,
I want to know how they started.
Okay.
Let me just check below. I think we're going to be inundated with comments tonight. Walter Swenson. He did look a little pink in the last picture. He's talking about Walter still. I mean, Martin. And Audrey says she was in New York.
Yeah.
Walter says, Audrey says she was in New York. Walter says they were little cups, easier to dish out.
Yeah,
you didn't dish out anything. They were already in the cups, Walter. So, Eric, Brittany, how did you get into this?
How far back do you want to go?
Wait, tell us first. You're from Canada, but grew up in Texas. That is culture shock.
I mean, I was too little to have culture shock, but my dad didn't like the cold, and he had a love affair with Texas. So he moved all of us down to Texas, and that's where I grew up.
So he moved 100 degrees, in other words.
Yes.
From 0 degrees in Canada to 100 degrees in Texas.
Exactly.
Oh, and then the Coast Guard guy.
Swimming pool, so he's good to go.
And then the Coast Guard guy shows up in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was stationed there, and eventually I stole this girl and took her to Seattle, which is where I'm from. And then we got married in Seattle, and 3 years later we got on the road.
So what transpired in that first 3 years that you said, "The hell with this, we're out of here. We're going to do something different"?
Well, it was Eric's idea, And I mean, it was one of those things that happened really gradually, but I'm pretty sure the first time Eric mentioned, let's get an RV and live in it, I was kind of like, okay. It wasn't a big deal, and that's why I don't really remember it.
So this is what happens when a sailor marries a minimalist. So I said when a sailor marries a minimalist. So
okay,
Brittany,
that's a very big word for John, Eric. So
it means somebody that doesn't like a lot of stuff.
Okay.
All right. So Brittany doesn't like clutter. She doesn't like stuff. I lived on ships for a good portion of my life while in the Coast Guard. And for anybody who's ever sailed, you know that space is at a premium. So you don't get to carry a lot of stuff with you, but you get to travel the world. And so when I got out of the Coast Guard, I still wanted to travel. I still had that wanderlust, that desire to get out there and explore. And I married a gal who also loves to travel and doesn't like a lot of stuff. So it was a good fit.
So you're 24 feet is good for you, but that wasn't your first motorhome, right?
No, it wasn't. So at first we had a 40-foot Tiffin Phaeton, and our it was really big.
We downsized a little,
but it was it was going from not an RV to an RV for the first time in our lives, and so for us it was a shock to go down to that little of space.
And not only was it a shock, you got to understand, neither one of us had ever driven anything larger than a moving truck. So when we bought this RV and it rolled up in front of our place, we just kind of watched it go by, and we're like, oh my gosh. The guy comes out, hands us the keys and says, have fun. And I just looked at him like, what do I do? And he goes, well, drive it around the block. And that was in Austin, Texas.
Austin. Okay. Audrey asked about, you know why? Because her son is in the Navy. Do the Navy and the Coast Guard are they ever based at the same place?
Oh, yeah. We share Navy bases all the time. Let's put it this way. The Navy base is never based on a Coast Guard base, but oftentimes the Coast Guard will share a proportion of the Navy base.
Okay. Audrey would probably be quick to point out. I think their son's still in the Navy. In the Navy.
She'll tell us.
Right, Audrey?
So you did the 40-footer for 3 years?
No, almost 5 years.
So this
time out. Sagami, you're going way too fast. Here's what people want to know. They want to know what you did career-wise prior to this that got you into the mindset to say, let's get. Right? That's what they say down there, right? Let's get.
So yeah, everybody in Texas says that.
Yeah. Let's get, y'all.
So what really happened was this. I was in the Coast Guard. I retired from the Coast Guard.
20 years.
After 20 years. And then I went to work for the King County Sheriff's Office in Seattle, Washington. My background has always been in law enforcement. And so
Were you on cops?
No.
Because they do a lot of cop stuff from up there.
No, it wasn't on cops.
Cops episode.
I did work for the King County Sheriff's Office, and then I got an opportunity to work in Austin, Texas, with the Texas Department of Public Safety, which is basically the equivalent of the state police for the state of Texas. I was actually working in the Division of Emergency Management, wearing a three-piece suit, working in an underground bunker, and I was there for a very short period of time before I decided, what am I doing? I don't want to do this. No good. Let's get out of here. So we had made a plan.
So you had met her, but you had met Brittany.
Oh, no, we were
married.
We were married by this time. Oh. Yeah, we kind of fast forwarded. So we knew that we wanted to explore the world. We wanted to travel, and we decided this is enough. We're going to have to create our own company. We're going to have to create some sort of sustainable income to be able to get out on the road and live this life full time if we want to do this full time. So we actually worked for 3 years building our own company so that we could get on the road. And it was a lot of work, a lot of late nights. We would get up typically at 6:45, 7 o'clock in the morning, and oftentimes work till 10 or 11 o'clock at night. We did that for about 3 years, building our business and working hard so that with the intention of being able to get on the road.
And can you tell us what that business was, or is the statute of limitations not up?
No, I was about to say, so we do online marketing for small businesses. And so we manage their Facebook, Twitter, Instagram accounts. We also do content creation for websites. And now we have our own websites too, where we had advertising and sponsors.
So you can be anywhere.
As long as we have an internet connection, John.
Yeah.
And that's a key. That's really important for our lifestyle, because there are many places that we'd love to go that we simply can't go unless it's the weekend, just like everybody else.
You got to be connected.
That question comes up a lot. It's probably one of the most asked questions, even within the campgrounds in many RVers. And we have a lot of people on who are close to full timing, some that are full timing. So why don't you describe the system that you have? And do you know the mobile internet resource site?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we're huge fans. Hello, Cherie and Chris.
Yeah, and I always, when I see these strange posts sometimes in Facebook pages, I always put a link up for their site, because that's the one that we recommend the most. But what configuration or what service do you use? Because it is critical to your business, and you have to be on it practically every day. So what have you found the best luck with?
So we have redundant systems just because we're so reliant on the internet. So we rely mostly on the mobile carriers. And so we have AT&T on our phones, which can be their hotspot. So we can connect our laptops to them. We also have an AT&T router that has something like 250 gigabytes a month or something like that. And then we also have a Verizon hotspot, so that if we're in an area that doesn't have AT&T coverage, well, maybe it'll have better Verizon coverage. And we use Chris and Cherie's mobile phone app called Coverage with a question mark after it. And it allows you to zoom in anywhere through the Google Maps interface to whatever campsite you want to camp at. And you can select your cell phone carrier. They have Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon, I believe. And you can see each of those carriers, what their coverage is for that specific dot on the map. And so we use that before going anywhere.
That's interesting. And I'm sure you follow Mike and Jennifer Wendland also, right? You know,
I don't know them by that name. I might know them by
RVlifestyle.com.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
He's a technical editor for NBC. He's into all those gadgets and stuff, and he's done several videos on that. But we've had them on the show a couple of times, and he's very technically oriented. But that's what he does. He has the redundant systems with Verizon and AT&T, so you're just not stuck out there somewhere.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, just redundancy is key. If you're going to be doing this type of lifestyle and you're dependent on internet, you don't want to just have one carrier. Many of our friends have 3 carriers. You know, T-Mobile has really upped their game from what we've heard. So, you know, the bottom line is you want to have flexibility, because you're going to find places in the United States where there is no coverage for one carrier, but the other carrier does have it covered.
Right. I always get a kick out of it when somebody says, well, I switched because AT&T sucks and I can't get a signal. You can go down the street and get the signal, and Verizon won't get it down the street.
Right, which we know from experience.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the technology is so good. I'm not sure that there's one better from a technological standpoint. They might differ in their pricing plans and what have you, but we got enough towers. There's enough coverage out there for the most part, and that works out.
Read what Walter says, and I got to tell you something while Bob's trying to read that.
Walter's a techie also, guys. He works for Dell Computer, and he's with the Mass Good Sam's. He's the state director. He says we carry Verizon hotspot, AT&T, Mobley, Sprint phones, and Wi-Fi Ranger for
campground
Wi-Fi when that works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we agree, Walter. We also have the Wi-Fi Ranger, and Walter will know this. We carry a MIMO antenna for the Verizon hotspot, and we have a WeBoost for either the Verizon or the AT&T.
Okay, this is way too technical for me.
Okay.
That's
about as far as we can go anyway. So
Bob and I are into redundancy, because you'll notice during this show, I will ask a really good, intelligent question. And then 20 minutes later, Bob will ask the same darn question.
So Jim Conboy is on with New England RV Roof. They do the Flex Armor roofs for RVs. Actually, he's right down by you guys. He's over there in Plainville, Mass. And Riney Lieberger is on. And Riney, nice to see you tonight. And thanks for being one of the exhibitors at Normandy Farms last weekend.
We should note all of our New England RV Dealer Association members that were at that event last week. And those include Bradford, which Riney represented, Fuller RV, where Sherry Fuller was, Bradford RV, as I said, Pete's RV, and
Camping
Camping World from Berkeley.
Right.
So they made a nice display down there.
Hey, Bob and John, can I give a shout out to Ryan Rhodes? He's it looks like he's watching the broadcast, and he was my lieutenant when I was a chief stationed in Florida. So I think he's like a commander or admiral nowadays. I don't know what he is now, but Lieutenant Rhodes, if you're out there, hello, Semper Paratus.
That's right. You got some big Navy brass watching the show. That's good. Yeah.
Can you salute him? Can we salute him?
Yeah, he would be saluted for sure.
Hey, you're not too far. You guys are not far from the Coast Guard Academy.
We're headed there.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, then you got to go to the casinos. And I'll tell you which ones to go to.
All right.
But you don't even have to. They both have camping areas. They're not campgrounds, but they're dedicated RV camping areas.
Okay, yeah,
And, you're right on the river. You're right on the same river that that goes down to Electric Boat and all that other stuff where they build submarines.
Is the Eagle going to be there, or is it out to sea?
I don't know, and it's probably covered under OPSEC, so I can't talk about it even if I did know.
Oh, okay.
That's military talk for none of your darn business.
Well, then you won't be going over. Then you won't be going over to General Dynamics to look at the nuclear subs either. So.
I have an intelligent question, and I know everybody wants to know.
You got an intelligent question?
And because I'm a grandfather, I can ask this question. You have a 2.5-year-old?
We do.
Okay, but you've been on the road for longer than that, and you mentioned the fabrication of that baby somewhere out in.
Hey, there he is. Look,
there he is, right there.
That is the cutest picture.
So during the time, I can say pregnancy, right? That's not offensive, right?
No.
This is cable TV. You can say whatever you want, John.
During that time, did you guys go hang around at one particular place, or did you continue to travel? And when it came time for him to be welcome to the world, did you stay stationary for a period of time, or like drive into a hospital emergency room on a Friday and then drive out on Monday?
No,
maybe they just went to the hospital drive-through.
During that time, we were actually traveling up the West Coast. And I remember that towards the end of the pregnancy, Brittany had to keep going back to Austin, Texas, which is where Caspian was born.
I would fly in.
And she would fly in. I would drop her off at the airport. She would fly to Austin to do her appointments, fly back, and then I'd pick her up, and then we would drive down. Eventually, we drove in about, 2 months before?
It was in my second trimester. So we went back to Central Texas, and then about a month out, we were about 25 minutes away from the hospital.
Okay. So
and that was like the end of the pregnancy. And then for the first 6 months of Caspian's life, we stayed in that area because there's so many vaccinations and appointments for him. So 6 months, and then we took off.
Yeah, and the doc told us, look, you need to stay still for 6 months so we can make sure he's good to go. And I'm telling you, it was 6 months and a day, John. 6 months.
Ready to go.
We were gone.
So as far as his, well child visits or well baby visits, do you belong to a certain medical plan or something that allows you to go in, or do you go into the urgent care places and
so
how do you do that?
So he has a primary care manager in Austin. And so that's where he goes. We basically go once a year at this point for his appointments. But our insurance would cover any urgent care visits or emergency room visits wherever we are in the country. Fortunately, we've never needed that, but our insurance does cover that.
So I want to show you how in tune with
our group,
our audience is. Walt, Jerry Plant, who's with, if you need anything service-wise while you're in that area, Major's RV, just over the Bourne Bridge.
Just down the street.
One of our NERVDA members, they're one of the best service centers in the country. All certified technicians. So Jerry works over there, and Jerry went out and checked the computer, and he says, according to marinetraffic.com, the Eagle is in port in New London.
Oh, there you go. I'd love to see it.
See? Yep.
Use our name.
Yeah.
Bob, you might not know this, but Bob was in the service, so we salute him for that.
Thank you, Bob.
He was part of the first crew on the USS Constitution. Doesn't he look pretty good for
He
200 years old?
He looks great.
Hey, be nice because today is the birthday of the U.S. Air Force.
That's right.
The
Yeah.
72nd birthday. So I'm 3 years older than the U.S. Air Force. So I came before the U.S. Air Force. So pay attention. See?
Hey, Bob, let's go back to some questions here. We got some great questions because
Let's see what we got.
what is the cost to carry multiple providers? Roughly, what do you pay in a month for
Okay.
your internet?
I'll start with it's not cheap, and then I'll turn it over to Brittany.
So AT&T for our 2 iPhones and our router with 250 gigabytes of data is $250 a month. And then our Verizon hotspot, which I think is 30
gigs.
30 gigabytes, that's another $140 a month.
So you're about $300, $400 a month.
You're up to 400. Yeah.
They're business expenses.
But keep in mind, for us, these are business expenses.
And we don't have a lot of overhead, so it's actually kind of nice to have some business expenses.
Right. It's part of that. Yeah.
You sure don't have a lot of overhead when you're in that upper bunk, right?
No, that's
true.
Right. We got Randy Murray on tonight, and Randy says, "Good evening, gentlemen. Keep being awesome." Oh, that's for us, but Randy's the service trainer at Pete's RV up in Vermont. They they have a spot right down the street from me too, in Plainville, Mass. Pete's RV is in Plainville, Mass, and South Windsor, Connecticut, and South Burlington, Vermont. And Randy does all the training of their service technicians. So, Randy, you must have had a busy summer. I haven't seen you on here all summer. And John Warden says, "I've heard that you never tow Guardian. Why not? Let's show them Guardian." That was a question that I had. I hate to do this, but I have to put Caspian down for a nap here. And I got a better picture of Guardian. Where'd it go?
Jeep, right?
Well, let me do this one. So I wondered that because Guardian is their Jeep, if you folks haven't figured that out yet. And so
you can kind of look at that picture and see why we don't tow Guardian.
It's almost as big as the motorhome.
Yes, exactly.
So the Winnebago View is 25 feet and Guardian is 15 feet the way he's outfitted. More importantly, the Winnebago View's towing capacity is 5,000 pounds and Guardian's probably around the 6,000 pound mark. He is fully equipped for overlanding. He's got a rooftop tent, an extra fuel tank on the back. He's actually got a refrigerator inside, a drawer system, an entire galley cooking system, tables, extra battery, you name it, he's got it.
Okay, I got a pet peeve. What's this deal with people name their motorhomes? Now you named your damn Jeep. Why?
Yeah, it's a Jeep thing.
It's a thing.
It's a Jeep thing, John. A lot of Jeepers name their rigs.
Okay, and are those regular wheels, or you got a wide front end on it that wheelbase on that thing?
So the wheels themselves are stock Rubicon rims. The tires are Mickey Thompson ATZ P3 35 series tires, and they're actually have Kevlar on them, so they're pretty indestructible.
Okay, is this because you really in the Coast Guard, or are you like in some kind of secret military base here?
I can't talk about that.
Yeah, okay. That means you're guilty. Okay. Well, Bob, we had another question here. Walter wants to know. Oh no, wait a minute. Viewers are sure to want to know, what do you do for healthcare as we jump from topic to topic to topic?
So because Eric is retired military, we have healthcare for life. Military.
It only cost you 20 years of your life, right, Eric?
Yeah, and a lot of pain.
And a lot of pain.
A lot of pain. Okay.
Well, that's a good point because you can go to any military facility.
Let's stay technical here for a while. So you don't tow it. So one of you drives one and one drives the other.
So this is interesting, John and Bob. I've never driven the RV, not once.
So
because he doesn't want to drive the Jeep, or you don't want to drive the RV.
You won't let Brittany drive his Jeep.
No, she drives the Jeep all the time, actually. So this
But
is
not when you're
very
in
fair,
it. When
not
we're
I'm
both in the Jeep, he doesn't let me drive the Jeep.
True.
So I love driving the View because I used to drive our 40-foot diesel RV, and so it's like a dream to drive the View.
What year is your View?
2016.
2016. Okay, so it still has the same chassis as ours.
The old chassis.
You got DEF in yours?
Yes.
You got a DEF tank, okay, because they added that. And you got the J model. So you call the View. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we also have 420 watts of solar on top of this little View. So we do a lot of boondocking. We do a lot of camping.
Now, is it my understanding that many times you will leave the View and then head out in the Jeep?
We do. So the View's name is, we call him Base Camp.
Yeah.
So we've got Base Camp and we've got Guardian. And a lot of times we will park Base Camp in the middle of nowhere and we'll pack up and we'll take off in 100, 150 miles in one direction.
You'll drive to the edge of nowhere then.
Right?
Yes.
Go spend a few days out next to some place where the View can't get to in the Jeep, enjoy some beautiful views and some more rustic camping. And then when we're all nasty and want to come back and relax a little bit, we'll come back to the View, take some showers, clean up, repack, and take off in another direction. So sometimes Base Camp doesn't move, but Guardian is kind of skirting the edge of where we're at.
And have you ever had any security issues leaving the View?
No, never.
No.
Do you have any type of surveillance or anything that you can
We
check
have all
remotely?
surveillance. Matter of
Pardon
fact,
me?
if you come within 15 feet of our View, alarms go off, lights go off, and the police are automatically called.
And they have to drive 200 miles to get to it, though.
Yeah.
if there's police in that area, right? So you do. Let me show another one here. Boom, boom, boom. So this is what you like to wake up to, then, right?
Yeah.
That was on one of your sites. Now you have also. Oops! Don't do.
I think, isn't that Alabama, our first?
I think so.
So I think that was our first night in the View. I'm pretty sure that picture right there was our very first night with the View.
Mm-hmm. So I was trying to take that down and show.
Did you have to get rid of a lot of junk from the Tiffin product to go to the Winnebago product?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question, John.
You have to get rid of a lot of junk.
Oh, it was insane.
Well, now wait a minute. There's more to this story, John. So what happened was, and people who follow us know this, but people who don't won't understand. We actually went from stick and brick home to the 40-foot diesel RV. And from the 40-foot diesel RV, we went to just the Jeep. And we lived at the Jeep for 7.5 weeks deep in the interior of Mexico. And at that time, we didn't have an RV. So it was Caspian, Brittany, and I in the Jeep in the interior of Mexico, south of Mexico City. Then when we came back, we bought the View and we went to pick it up in
Alabama.
Chattanooga, right?
Oh, yeah,
In Chattanooga, Tennessee. And then we took it to Alabama. So we just got this View in March of this year. Now, understand that this year alone, we have been deep into the interior of Mexico. And by the time we're done with this year, we'll have done 32 states and about 20,000 miles.
Are you running from the law?
I am the law.
So this chart. So I took this off one of your blog pages. So this chart's already a little outdated. Since
It is.
Yeah,
it
so
is.
that's
you don't have the Northeast on here, right? Right.
That was at the end of last year, Bob.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So if you go to RV Wanderlust, our website, rvwanderlust.com, and scroll down on the right sidebar, you might be able to snatch that picture, but it shows our current map.
Okay. All right. Well, we won't do that. We have to take a little commercial break. You guys stay. You're not going anywhere. We just have to.
We're not.
This is John's turn to shine.
Yeah, it's my turn to shine. I just put 2 Tums in my mouth because we should say that Bob and I had a luncheon meeting today, and I made the mistake of eating a turkey dinner at lunch. And the turkey's still with me 7 hours later. So hopefully I'll get through this. But what we want to do is thank people for sharing this on Facebook. And so many people shared it last week. Bob, I'll give you the drum roll on this. And we're asking what you to do is, and we know if people share it because we can get it. We'll get a message. But so please do share, because we're told that we provide pretty good content, not from what we say, but from what our guests say. And tonight is a perfect example of our guests being much more intelligent than us. But last week we're over 15,000. No, we should say last week we weren't on because it was 9/11.
Right.
But the week before that, we did the big follow-up show to Bob's trip to the world's largest RV show in Dusseldorf, Germany. And we're over, what are we at? Close to 16,000 on that, right, Bob?
Close to 16,000 now. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have broken the record for the show.
Yeah. So the only reason we're able to do it is because of the great folks such as our viewers tonight and will watch us in replay to share this on Facebook. And also because tonight, Bob, I think we're going to set another record. And the reason is because our guests are internet gurus, and they're going to share this in ways that we didn't even know
They already have.
that they can do so. So we want to thank them for that and congratulate everybody who helped share to make that last show really cool.
Okay, let's.
I got another good question. How long are you going to do this gig?
Indefinitely.
Interesting.
So there's more to the story here. So what part of what we're doing, and we haven't really talked about this too much publicly yet, but part of what we're doing right now is we're going through New England, filling out our state map. By the time we're done with this year, we'll only have 4 states remaining in the lower 48 that we've not visited: Iowa, Indiana, Illinois, and West Virginia. At the start of 2020, we're going to be in the Southwest, and we've got a lot of events that we're doing from the overlanding side of life. Eventually, we're going to cross back across the United States, but this time through the center of the United States, picking up those 4 states on our way to Overland Expo East in 2020. Once that happens, we'll have all lower 48 states done, and we're hoping to start traveling full-time internationally. And by that, I mean drive down to Argentina, ship the vehicle to Africa, drive up Africa into Europe, into Scandinavia, over to Asia, etc. And we're looking at a 10 to 15 year journey at that point.
That's fantastic.
So you're looking at homeschooling?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, have you discussed what if Caspian has a brother or sister?
He already has 4.
He has 4?
So he's the youngest of 5.
Okay.
So I have 4 through marriage, and they're a lot older. And so Eric started again with Caspian.
Ah, okay.
So he's our compromise.
We're done.
So, okay. So,
John, it's tough having a 2.5-year-old when you're 49.
yeah. But she's not 49.
He's not 49.
No, we won't ask that question. But that's pretty cool because most people say, we'll try it for another year, and then they get the sticks and bricks, heebie-jeebies, and they want to go back to a house because they've done their traveling. But I guess if you've been kind of a were you based at a lot of different places in the Coast Guard?
I've actually been all over the world, John. I've been to Antarctica twice. I've been in the Arctic Ocean 3 times, and I've circumnavigated the globe twice on a ship. So I've been to Sydney, Australia 8 times, all over the Bahamas. Yes, the short answer is yes, I've been all over the world.
Okay, so I got to ask you this, and then I'll shut up and Bob can take over. Do you ever wake up and look at Brittany and say, "Where the hell are we?"
Yes.
And Caspian does too.
Caspian does too.
It's one of his first questions every day is, "Where are we?"
So you know that little curtain that's up there on the view?
Yeah, the window. Yeah.
Up and he'll say, "Where are we?"
Yeah, we had that same scenario the other night when we had a granddaughter with us that we ended up at we left real early in the morning to get from point A to point B, and we woke up and she knew that we weren't where we started from, and she just said to my wife, "Nana, where are we?"
Yeah.
That's pretty cool to be able to do that, though.
It is, and I got to tell you, Caspian is a great traveler. We did it. I want to say a little while ago. We did about a 5.5 hour drive, and keep in mind he's in the Jeep with me for those 5.5 hours. And at the end of the drive, he says, "Daddy, I like that drive. It was pretty and not too long."
After 5 hours.
What 2.5-year-old says that?
Right.
So that picture there must be in the Dutch Star, in the Phaeton, because I know it ain't in the View.
No.
So this one's got to be one of your Navy Coast Guard buddies, Eric. So I'll put it.
Yeah,
up
he
there.
was.
Always on Liberty.
Hey,
Mwah.
Lisa and Dan, we love you guys.
Heading up to England next week.
Is that a
We
Coast
got a View too.
Yeah. That's
Hey,
good.
that's another coastie right there. Both of them actually, and y'all ought to have them on the show if they're up here next spring.
Where are they now?
They know New England.
They know New England.
That's where they were stationed, was in New England.
Yeah, you want some real rock star RVers that know New England. Them right.
Are they out
Liberty,
on
where were you? Liberty, tell us where you were stationed, and we'll get a hold of you.
Well, if it's stationed up here, it had to be. Well, it could have been the Cape. It
Could have been the Cape. It could have been New London.
Could have been New London. Well, actually, it could be everywhere. Boston's got the light ship and the rescue crews out of Boston. So, and Maine's got a Coast Guard station up there too. So,
Eric, do you ever overnight on bases? Do you have that capability to do that?
I do, because I'm retired. I have access to any FAM camp, any military base that has camping.
Do you ever do that, or you want to stay the hell away?
We do.
Yeah.
The thing is, we've changed our travel rhythm a lot this year because we got the View and we're not in the big 40-footer anymore. So right now, with the 420 watts of solar and just our lifestyle of travel, we do a lot more off-grid camping, boondocking, finding Forest Service roads, and that type of thing. From time to time, we'll go to an RV park to do a reset. Dump the tanks, fill the tanks, and get all set up for the next 2 weeks, if you will. Right now, like I said, we're at the KOA in Boston, Plymouth KOA, who's very graciously hosted us here today so that we could do this interview. And we are going to do a reset here, and we probably won't be in an RV park for another 2 weeks.
if the manager walks by, stick them on and let them say hello to everybody, because we love KOA and they always treat us well when we go out on the road also.
Well, I'll tell you, it's interesting. Ryan and Michelle are the general managers here at this KOA, and we met them 5 years ago.
Our very first year of RVing, 2014.
And they were RVers as well. And we just met as two younger RVer couples that were childless at the time. Yeah. And they invited us to pizza, and we went out somewhere in Virginia. I think it was called Pungo's Pizza.
So good.
So good, by the way. And we remember that. We had a good time. We hung out with them. And here we are 5 years later. They saw that we were coming through New England, and they're like, "Hey, we'd love to have you as our guest." So here we are.
Now, there's no way, Bob, you'd agree with me, and I'm sure our viewers would listen with as well. There's no way you two look like you're in your 40s.
Nope, not at all.
Well, one of us is in our 40s, and the other one is in their 30s.
Okay,
you guys
kind of know that. We kind of know that now. We know that. However,
yeah, I thought you were much younger. Always on Liberty was in Newport, Woods Hole, Boston, Rockland, and Portland.
I told you.
I got 3 or 4 of those. See,
Rockland, Maine, probably.
Yeah. Here's another member of your fan club.
Hey,
Yes.
Mark. So Mark is a good friend of mine from Austin, Texas, and actually he's quite responsible. Long story short, but I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and Mark turned me on to something that really helped with negotiating that and reversing. You can't cure diabetes yet, but reversing the effects of the diabetes. And so thank you to Mark, and thanks for tuning in.
Was that a diet?
Yeah, it's the keto diet. I know it's really popular right now. I didn't even know it was a diet. Like I didn't do it to lose weight. Losing weight was
a side
effect of that. But you can actually manage your blood sugar using the keto diet if done properly. And Mark turned me on to that. So I went from a very dangerous place as a type 2 diabetic to within normal levels of non-diabetic.
Wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So what's he saying here? ONC, what was it? Officer in charge of Woods Hole.
Is he still bragging?
Yep.
Yes, he is.
All right, listen, Dan, I gave you the shout out. That's it, okay? You want to do it, reach out to Bob, all right?
he's
I'm kidding. Dan's great.
he's
So
got
he knows all the good restaurants like Captain Kids, always on Liberty. You must know a Captain Kids and the Landfall. Those are two good restaurants.
Yeah, that's all right.
We'll be here when you're
We'll
done.
be here when you guys are done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
There's another one.
Take over the show.
Good. They are. Look at all his fans are calling in.
Right there, looking good.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, Bill, we are coming back to Colorado, and we are hoping to do some of the URA things and Engineer Pass and all that kind of stuff in that area. So
Hey,
we will be there 2020.
If Audrey's still around, they have something in common with you because they have a Tiffin or a Newmar. They have a Tiffin, I guess, right?
She's got the new one's a Tiffin, yeah.
A Tiffin and a Jeep. They haul a Jeep. They haul a Wrangler with them.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
Mark, and there's he's
you guys
out of
met, Mark and Don Polk at RV Education 101.
I don't think
I
we've
don't
met
think
them,
so.
no.
Okay, you want to? I'll send you their stuff because they got an affiliate program, and they're the best trainers for consumers in the country. They're members of NERVDA, but they're down in North Carolina. Nobody knows more from a consumer standpoint than Mark. Batteries, training, electricity, you name it. But they got a bunch of books, and they've just released this year online streaming. Took all of his books and DVDs and put them online. But you can put those up on your site and make a few bucks. But they're great people. They're usually on here, but unless
Today's his birthday. Today's his birthday. So, folks, if you get a chance to go to another screen just for a second, we don't want to lose you as viewers, but when we're done the show, go to Mark Polk, P-O-L-K, his Facebook page, and just write "Happy Birthday, Mark."
There you go. Yeah, driving crazy with that.
Okay, here we go.
Audrey says Tiffin in the Jeep, but Mark's got a Bounder in a Jeep, and he will often drive separately on the Jeep with them. And Mike Wendland does that sometimes. Well, now he's got the Liberty, so he doesn't do it on that. But there's a lot of people that do that. Howard Payne and Howard and Linda Payne at rv-dreams.com. They've got a fifth. Actually, they just went down to Cambria. So they used to go. They've been full time in fifth wheel for a long time, and they had a Jeep, and she would drive the Jeep behind him or go ahead of him and scout out the trees.
For anyone who likes going off-road with their vehicle, on the Winnebago Life blog on the homepage, I just published an article there about our favorite places to go 4x4ing. So for all of these people who have Jeeps or other off-road vehicles, they can check that out on the Winnebago blog.
Is it on the Winnebago Life?
Yes.
Yeah, and what's really neat about this article is Brittany doesn't just talk about the 4x4 aspect, but also where you can park your RV while you're exploring with your 4x4 in that article.
That's good. One thing we haven't mentioned to you, what we'd like to ask you to do is when you get a chance tomorrow sometime, maybe just go back through all the questions and the comments, because I'm sure we'll miss some, but there may be some that are more pertinent to you, and put a link into the Winnebago Life, or I can do it, but do that. And Mark just posted his link to the Diabetes Journeys group.
Yeah, that's a great group.
Yeah, it's a great group.
Okay, so we'll have that one on there. But we and John and I go through after the show also to just add as many comments as we can to people. Audrey says, Bob, can you post these blog links after the show? I will do that, Audrey. In fact, I'll post the one, Eric, that you sent me for your Outlanding. Explain Outlanding, but I'll do the Outlanding, the GPs thing, and all the links that you sent me. I'll post those so people have them and they can follow you there. But explain that Outlanding, because it came up at a lunch meeting today with one of our guests that was going to have some of them in one of his shows with the racetrack down in Connecticut.
Sure, Bob. So one of the things that's really grabbed our passion is the overlanding. It's not outlanding, it's overlanding. And it's a term that came from Australia. We won't get into the history of it, but the bottom line is it's basically about the journey, not so much the destination. Going off-grid for extended periods of time, typically in a 4x4 vehicle, and just experiencing different people, places, and things kind of like RVing, but a little bit more hardcore, off-grid, places RVs can't normally go. So people will typically use a 4x4 vehicle, but you have to be fully self-reliant, self-sustained inside your 4x4 vehicle. So, for example, our Jeep, like I said, it's got a rooftop tent that has a king-size bed on it. The bed on my Jeep is bigger than the bed in my RV. We've got a refrigerator, a full galley, all the tools, all the equipment, sleeping bags, the whole 9 yards. And we actually took that, like I said, for 7.5 weeks down in deep into the interior of Mexico. In 2020, Brittany and I have been invited to speak at, y'all are familiar with Escapees and Escapers, correct?
Yes, we've had them on. Yeah, we've had them on.
Great. So we have been invited to speak at the Escapers annual bash in 2020. And so we will be there, and we'll actually be speaking about overlanding because so many people have been asking about this topic and are interested in this next level of travel, if you want to call it that, that it's drawn enough interest where you have people. Matter of fact, you have huge expos. We'll be speaking at Overland Expo East here in a few weeks. That takes place in Arlington, Virginia, October 11th through the 13th. So overlandexpo.com, you can learn about that. And so Overland East is the 11th through the 13th. Then the annual bash is in mid-January. Mm-hmm. They're almost sold out, though. So if you're interested in the Escapers Bash in Lake Havasu, you want to go to their website, Escapers, and they are selling what they call late tickets first week of November. They're I don't know what the date is right now, but they're going to open them up for a short window, and I guarantee you they're going to sell out in a matter of hours.
Well, you know what? I don't see anybody from Rolling on TV on here tonight, but we do a lot of work with them. And I don't know if you've seen the program, but it's shown nationwide. It's ROLLIN on without TV. But Michelle and Laurie winter in Prescott Center, Prescott Center, Arizona. And that might be something that they would like to cover as media, but maybe do a segment on Rolling on TV for it.
Well, they could definitely reach out to Escapers and see about press coverage and credentials for that. Sure.
Yeah.
I've covered their thing when they had their big national one up in Vermont.
Yeah, in Vermont. Yeah, we covered up here, and they got that other thing called Hangouts. We covered that. There was 2 of them in New England, so we had them on the show about a month ago. So if you go back, you'll see a lot of the same thing. So we do that.
You know what, Audrey Foley, if you're still here, you should click on these guys' links because the Foley, that's her middle name. I guess it's her maiden name. But Audrey said, look, I'm getting ready to go full time. She's already got the diesel. She's already got the Jeep. And they were a guest of us back in January because they go somewhere every weekend, unless there's extenuating circumstances, from April through Halloween. And they're East Coasters. They live right near us here. And they were just in New York City last weekend. Actually, they were there for the 9/11. I think they were there for the 9/11, or right after that. They got up to the towers and stuff and that kind of thing. But you'll talk to people, right, that contact you versus via this show?
Oh, absolutely.
We'd love to.
We love to. We do it all the time.
Yeah. So you've been in one place for 20 minutes now. That's like a long time for you guys.
It is.
Right? Running from the law. I am the law. That's the line of the show so far. You're running from the law. No, I am the law. It could have had you tracking down Whitey.
Yeah, there you go. So you kind of had this in your blood, and you kind of lived that whole life. But what about somebody that's out there tonight watching this and saying they don't have that in their blood, but they've always wanted to do it? What is your advice to those people?
You want to tackle that, or you want me to tackle it?
You can start.
Okay. I would say this: you only live once. If you're willing to give it a shot, give it a shot, because you won't know unless you try. Right?
Right.
There are opportunities that you can take. For example, there are places where you can rent out RVs and, take 3 months and do a 3-month trip. It's an expense up front. You're not buying that particular RV, but after 3 months, you'll kind of get a feel for the lifestyle. You'll know if this is something that fits your lifestyle. If it's something.
It's a good point. And we tell people the same thing. We talk about it when we do seminars, and they say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then they die and they didn't do it.
What does your family think of you if they still know where you are and how to reach you?
Oh, we lost them. Oh, here we go. I'll bring you back up. You're coming back up. There you go. Don't know what happened, but
Sorry,
you're back.
We didn't hear your question, John.
What does your family think of you, or do they not know who you are or where you are? They must think you're nuts.
We're able to spend more time with family because we travel full time. So we've seen every single immediate family member this year. Our parents, all of our kids,
Brittany's 95-year-old grandfather.
Yeah, everybody in 1 year. They don't think we're nuts because, like you said, it's in our blood. Like, I got it from my parents. He was in the military for 20 years. And so for them, it's normal.
Okay. Cool.
I gotta show you. I gotta show you one more, just to prove that they were in Maine. Actually, I gotta show you two. I'll show you this one first. So he qualifies. So
where is that?
So
that was at Beals.
Where is that?
That's up by Southwest Harbor.
Yeah, Southwest Harbor outside Acadia.
Little.
Oh, okay, up by Baja. Okay.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was Eric's first time, but we should have the after picture of the empty shell because he did a masterful job with this lobster.
Kind of funny story, and all you New Englanders are going to laugh at me. So
he's superimposed. Stop for a second. It looks like his face is superimposed. Is that a thing? Is that a cutout, or is that really you?
No, that's actually me. I've eaten lobster just like most people, where you go to a restaurant and it's already done for you. So I go to this place, they put the lobster on the weight scale there. They cook it up and they bring it out, they put it on the plate and they walked away. And they just left it sitting there. I didn't have a clue as to what I was supposed to do with the thing. So
so he got up.
So I got up and I went back into the restaurant.
He was like, "Help!"
I talked to Chuck. Chuck's a great guy up there at Beals. I was like, "Chuck, what my food?" He's like, "You got your food?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "How is it?" I said, "I don't know." I was just sitting there looking at me. He says he comes back with me and he explained it to me and it was fantastic.
Oh yeah,
Did you get dirty? Did you get dirty?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Becky's okay.
They look skinny, but they do eat well on the road. So so they stopped off at Becky's.
Yeah. Personally, I think it's overrated.
Huh?
I think it's overrated.
Yeah, we really liked it, and apparently the Coast Guard had a group years ago across the bay from where Becky sits, but not all the ships could fit there. So the rumor has it that the Coast Guard ships used to have the option to moor up next to Becky's, and more often than not, they took the option so that they could all go in there and have a bite to eat.
Well,
that is good.
Just one lobster. Always on Liberty says just one lobster.
Oh no! I've had lobster rolls. I've got lobster coming out of my ears. I love lobster. I just didn't know what to do with it the first time it was set in front of me. Now, Brittany's not too much of a seafood person, but to her credit, she's at least tried some Maine lobster while we've been here. So.
Hey, it's too bad we didn't talk before you were in Maine, because just from Southwest Harbor, you could have driven to Lubec, which is the easternmost point in the United States.
Yeah, and I knew about that. Yeah. We went so fast through Maine. It's a shame, but we'll be back. Don't worry.
We're going to be here in Plymouth for 2 days, today and tomorrow. Tomorrow we hope to go into Plymouth and go exploring a little bit. And then from here, we're headed to Rhode Island. And we'll be in Rhode Island for 1 night. And then we head into Connecticut. And we'll be in Connecticut for 2 nights. One night. And then we go to Long Island, New York. And I've got a cousin who lives on Long Island, so we're going to go see him and my uncle. So
you're going to take the ferry from New London?
That's
Yeah,
the plan.
that's the
Or
plan.
Bridgeport.
Or Bridgeport. We haven't decided.
Yeah.
Do you know which ferry is better? Is there a better one?
Well, no, it's just they're about 70 miles apart.
It
Yeah,
goes out. One of them goes out further on the
Depends
island.
how far out in the island
Yeah.
you're going.
I think the New London one goes further out. Bridgeport goes into
Yeah.
Port
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I can't think of it. Do
Port-
that. Yeah.
Port Chester, not Port Chester.
Fort Jeffrey, something like that. Yeah. Fort Jefferson.
Wait. Now, what you should do when you get off the show, call Always at Liberty, and you got to go to Woods Hole because it's only an hour from where you are. And what you do is drive down on your way to Rhode Island and then drop the View off and get in the Jeep and just go across the way. It's 20 minutes over the bridge. It's worth going to. It's beautiful little town.
I'm sure we're going to catch an earful from Lisa and Dan after the show because now that they know exactly where we are, they're going to tell us, here's all the places you got to go. The problem is that we are trying to make tracks to get to Overland Expo. And here's the deal. We're filling in our map, right? So we've done Maine. We did Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. And then we came down to Massachusetts. We're doing Rhode Island. We're doing Connecticut.
Right.
We're doing, we still got to do New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland.
Well, you're doing all that on the way to
Virginia.
On the way to Virginia, we got to be there by the 10th of October.
Right,
Yeah.
you're on there, but you got plenty of time. Plenty of time.
So if you need any camping supplies or you need any work done on your vehicle,
Go to Majors.
go to Majors RV, because what Majors is very smart. What they do, and Jerry will pop in there, they're on Cape Cod. Now, I'm sure you've experienced it. You're on the road, you go to an RV dealer and they say, we can't take you for 2 months because we're too busy taking care of our own people.
Yep.
Majors doesn't sell RVs. They just do service and parts. They get the largest parts and accessory store in New England, but they leave hours in every day for people who are traveling through who have a problem. So if you have a problem, you call them, they take you that day because they know you're traveling. They want you to enjoy the experience. They get them in and they get them out. It's unheard of. But if you need anything, let me know. We'll call the guys down there.
Do they have Majors in the Coast Guard?
No.
Okay.
No, John, they don't have Majors.
Not going to remember it then.
No.
Now look at Jason, our Rhode Island guy. We got to say thank you so much for Jason for putting that great event on this past weekend. But he's a Rhode Islander, so he's partial to Newport and not Woods Hole. And I'm sure that our Always on Liberty people would say go to Woods Hole. Actually, they were probably stationed at both, I think, right? And Bob, look what time it is.
Yeah, I know. It's this happens every week. We tell people, well, it's an hour, and they say, "Oh, an hour." Believe me, we always come to the end of the show and say, it's a.
We had more time.
And we try to be respectful for our fans because they give us an hour of their time every Wednesday night. I will go back. So for our fans, I will go back through and look at all the comments. Eric, Brittany, if you have a chance, in your travels, take a look at them. I will post those links that you sent us, and hopefully you'll pick up a few more followers tonight. I'm intrigued with the story. You obviously love what you're doing, and that's just great because that's what that whole lifestyle is all about. And that's what we preach and that's what we teach, and we love to see people enjoying it. So, continued success on what you're doing. Any last words for our fans or?
Oh, no, just thank you for having us. And we are so approachable. We love answering questions. I especially like talking to other moms and potential moms and empowering them to know that children are not a reason to keep from traveling.
Absolutely.
If that's where your heart is taking you, you can do it.
You know what? We'll probably do a separate show just on the part of traveling with kids.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of them, the full-time families. There's a lot of families out there homeschooling in the RVs. And boy, when you look at society today and what some of the schools are turning out, you take a homeschool kid any day of the week, just think of the experiences that he's already got, and he's just coming up on 3 years. So with all of this and all the stuff that you're doing, so that'll give you another page, Brittany, to throw up another website and RVing with kids. But when does the book come out?
Yeah, I
Gotta be a book. Huh?
You doing a journal?
Yes.
You doing a journal?
Every day, journals every day.
Every day. And the amazing thing is you look back on it, because we do it and we're only weekenders, but like I'll say, okay, here it is, 4th of July. What did we do last 4th of July? You go back to the book and say, oh, we went there. We had a great time. Right. So anyway, that's another topic we could do. We're way over time. We only rent a satellite for an hour.
Right.
And, Jason Cole's a good guy. He's saying safe travel with no regrets. And Mark Lynn is saying safe travels. We'll see you soon for some Texas burgers.
Amen.
Yes.
Woo!
And barbecue.
And barbecue.
And barbecue.
Texas barbecue. All right. That's fantastic. Look, I really appreciate you doing this on short notice, but that's how we do a lot of our shows. I'll read a story on Monday, just like I did with you, and reach out, and next thing you know, we got them on the show on Wednesday night. So it works out great.
We need to tell them, warn them up front or at the back, at the tail end. Not all the other shows you're going to do are going to be as much fun as this one.
Oh, we believe it.
We believe it.
All right.
Rhonda joined us. It's not hockey season yet. Thank you for your help with Normandy Farms event, guys. They thanked you, Bob. They thanked us from the stage several times.
Who did what?
Thank them for giving them something.
I gotta go back. Oh, hi, Rhonda. There you go. It's almost hockey season. She's getting ready.
Yep.
You bet she's getting ready.
Training camp coming soon.
And Rhonda did $50 million into the $100 million renovation of the TD Garden, so I'm sure you'll like that. But you know what? She won't like that because she's such a diehard Bruins fan. She's going to be pissed because they took out the orange seats and they put in gray seats.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, come on. We're 10 minutes over. Let's get out of here.
All right. On the road. So safe travels. Thank you again very much, Eric, Brittany, and Caspian. Hope you had a good night's sleep. And we'll catch up to you guys down the road.
Say hi to the pilgrims tomorrow.
Will do.
Yeah.